Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share a little bit of a thought on influential interviews. And I think the biggest thing is, why do we do them? And why are we not worried about distribution or viewers or likes or downloads or follows? So let me just jump right in. Influential interviews, the number one goal is to build relationships with our key strategic partners. The second goal is to build relationships with our existing clients. And then the third goal is that ultimately it will get us clients. Now, it's in that order for a reason. And really, truly, I want you to understand influential interviews is first and foremost about the relationship with our strategic partners. So, what we want to do is we want to interview them, we want to follow the influential interview process. And basically, our goal is to interview them and ask them the right questions that help our audience decide if they're a fit to work together. So our strategic partners, our key strategic partners are the ones we're interviewing, and we're adding value to our community, our dream clients, our perfect prospects by showcasing other businesses that might be able to help them. So the point of the influential interview is not about downloads, not about likes. It's first and foremost about that relationship with the person we're interviewing. So we want to make that clear to the person we're interviewing. I'm not looking to get 10,000 likes, 10,000 follows, 10,000 downloads. Literally, what I'm hoping is one of my clients sees it, says, I need that person's help. They reach out and say, I saw you on the influential interview, the podcast with Jeff. I'd love to talk to you about how you can help my business. So that's the service piece. And by the way, I know that sounds very anti-marketing, but the reality is everything we do is about word of mouth. So we're focusing on how do we help our guests, and in return, our guests will help us. Now, that's not a transaction, that's a relationship. And so a lot of people say, well, Jeff, how do I build a relationship? The first step, you've got the authority book. The second step is the influential interview. And I promise you, I haven't interviewed somebody where they didn't appreciate it so much that they offered to give me an introduction. It happens every time. Now, I don't do it expecting something. I do it because I know it's a good way to build a relationship, and I know introductions and referrals will come from it. So that's the biggest thing when somebody says, well, Jeff, I'd love to be on your show. How many viewers? What's your audience size? I'm pretty candid and I say, I don't have a large audience. I'm not focused on that. And what I do with my influential interviews for the Clientology podcast is I tell each and every guest that's a potential guest, every guest that's been on, I tell them one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you watch other episodes of the show. And if there's somebody that you really like or you need to meet, I am happy to do the introduction. If there's somebody that you want to meet you, I'm going to share your introduction. I'm going to share your interview with them. And if they like it, they'll reach out and they'll connect with you. So the podcast is my way of facilitating relationships and introductions without burying me in the process. So that's the answer to the influential interviews. And really, truly, I can't say this enough. Influential interviews are based on your key strategic partner plan. So if you haven't done the key strategic partner plan, go back and do it because it is critical. So I'll explain sort of my process on influential interviews. And what we do is we first of all start with, who do we want to serve? Who is the end audience for the podcast? So as an example, if it's business owners in Atlanta, we would look for guests, key strategic partners who would be beneficial and interesting to business owners in Atlanta. So these would be our key strategic partners. Now, just to keep this in context, a key strategic partner plan always has, per category, three different three different contact types. So there's the contact one column, that's your most immediate group, the people you're going to contact and stay in touch with every month. There's your contact two column, which is the people you're going to stay in touch with every other month. And then your contact three column, where you're going to stay in touch with them once every 3 months. So thinking about it from the fact that there's 12 categories, including your business, you're number one in your column one, contact one column. So you're going to interview your 11 top key strategic partners. That's your column one first. So if you want a little bit of growth, you would interview one a month. You would have one podcast episode a month, and that would cover you plus your 11 key strategic partners. If you want to grow a little faster, the next thing you would do is interview your second column. And I'd always put the first column first. You want to interview them first. Then you could interview the second column, and then you could interview the third column. That would give you 36 podcast episodes, which is roughly 3 a month. Well, it is 3 a month. So the fourth one, you just fill in with yourself or your clients. Think about other people that would serve your client base. And what that would give you is, if you did one a week, you'd have 52 episodes in a year. That would give you literally 52 people raving about your business, sharing it with their audiences. It is a good way to grow quickly. So I'll say that again in simple terms. If you're looking to grow a little bit, do 1 episode a month. If you're looking to grow faster, do 2 episodes a month. And if you're really, really looking to grow, do a daily podcast. And now, for the record, I don't know many local service-based businesses, whether it's consultants, coaches, accountants, professionals. I don't know many that could handle the growth that would come from a daily podcast. So my advice is start with 1 a month, focusing on your top key strategic partners. Once you're comfortable, once you have the cadence, I can do a podcast episode, including interviewing, the admin, the production, in less than an hour. So once you're really, really good, so this is the crawl piece, start by doing 1 a month. As you get more comfortable, as you see the results, start adding a second. And then when you're really comfortable, go to 1 a week. And I say 1 a week because that's a pretty good cadence. You're not going to be overwhelmed with it. You're literally going to have to spend 1 hour a week on interviews. Now, as I said, if you're really, really looking to grow, let's say you're a large professional service firm and you have one person who is dedicated to business development, get them to do 1 podcast episode a day. That's a little bit of an accelerated pace, and just test and measure. Are you getting good results? Are you getting good clients? Are you getting good guests? And the other piece I would say is keep the interviews short. I know I break this rule a lot, but I love the conversations I'm having. I try never to go over 30 minutes. My advice to you would be try to keep your conversations to about 20 minutes or less. So that's influential interviews. And by the way, as a bonus tip for authority books, at the end of the year, one of the things I do on every podcast is I'll ask them, what are your top 3 tips for my audience? How can they grow their business? How can they do something that gives them a quick win today? You could compile those tips. So let's say you did a weekly podcast, you have 52 episodes over the course of a year. If you got 3 tips from every guest, you could write a book on 3 times 52, which is 156 growth hacks, business growth tips, whatever you want to call it. Literally, you could write a book on the wisdom from your podcast. And to be clear, it's not your wisdom, it's the wisdom of your guests. So you want to highlight the guests. That's a bonus thing. We won't get into the details yet. But my advice to you, and this is really about avoiding perfection, we want momentum, just get started. If you make mistakes, you screw up, just keep going, as I do. I don't edit much because the reality is people want to see real, they want to laugh at your flubs and mistakes. Give them that gift. So those are my thoughts on influential interviews, and I want to thank you.